Hi, my name is Pedro Moreira da Silva, and I'm the staff product designer working in the Create code review area of GitLab. Today I'm going to share with you an approach that I recently took in an issue to break down the design into actionable steps in hopes that it might help some of you when breaking down designs. So in this issue, I was exploring how we could design a structured framework for the merge request merge widget. And I had all of this in Figma with many different states and different proposals. For example, here I had just the structure with what can be inside the title, what kind of actions and what the style would be, where the merge options would land, and the merge button, where alerts would be positioned. So this is just the abstract component, and then how the component was shown in with a practical example. And it also had other ideas like showing how many merge checks have failed, and if you click this button, view merge checks, what it would show. So it had a lot of different things going on here, and at the same time, for example, Jeremy Elder, he provided a lot of great feedback regarding the visual design aspects, and so we had some explorations here that he made around changing things in the type, changing things regarding the padding, like what if we would change the icons to use our upcoming icon set instead of this current one, which is a bigger icons and with a different style. So there were a lot of different aspects here in this big exploration of the merge widget. And it also led me to create separate threads for feedback in the issue itself, and separating things in the beginning between must-haves, nice-to-haves, and could-haves, things that I knew that I had some confidence on and that I knew that if we implemented them, they could have a very big positive impact on usage. Some other things like the visual design and the text, I wasn't sure, so I considered them nice to haves in the beginning. And then could haves, things that I knew would take longer to implement, or we needed more research, or we needed involvement from other groups. So it was not a high priority right now for me to work on. And here below, I had some threads, just one for viewing and expanding the merge checks and seeing all of them or not. One of them, just a thread just focused on visual design with Jeremy, as I mentioned earlier, commenting here and leaving some feedback on explorations. There were threads about other concepts and other parts of the design. So trying to break down the discussion into more manageable pieces. But in the end, I realized like we need to move forward with this. We can't be here forever discussing all of these aspects. So I went back to one of our product management methods, and it's not only used at GitLab, it's used in many product organizations, which is the RICE framework. If you're not familiar with it, very quickly, it's trying to attribute score on an idea, a project, an initiative, whatever it is, to try to prioritize it with other similar things. In terms of reach, impact, confidence, and effort. So that's why it's called RICE, R-I-C-E, reach, impact, confidence, and effort. And I took this framework and I thought, well, why don't I try to apply this to this very big idea with all of these concepts here in Figma? How can I break this down and try to think more objectively about the priorities of each of the aspects in this design? So that's what I did. I first listed them and did a breakdown of, in my mind, what were the independent concepts, things that we could do independently from one another that wouldn't have a lot of effect on each other in terms of implementation. And then I tried to think about the reach, the impact, the confidence, and the effort. So for example, this first item that I then created an issue for it to restructure the merge request widget, which would be to reorder the merge options and action, to move an alert to another location, to have a new placement for the errors. So just the structure itself and the interaction design. I believed that these changes I had, as I wrote here with a C1, that I had very high level of confidence on this. Because compared to everything else and compared to, especially to what we have today, moving to a structure like this would have massive improvements in terms of usability. But now I also had to think about the impact. So the impact, I realized that it would have, I think, a very high impact. It wouldn't be massive. It also wouldn't be a medium impact. It would be high. But it would only have impact on a certain type of users. And those would be just specific users of the merge request. So that's why in the reach, I scored it as with a 6, impacts a large percentage, 50 to 80% of what I thought were the users of merge requests. So in this specific case, the merge widget is only visible to users that can merge, it's more used by the users that can merge. Anyone can see this widget. There are certain elements that are interactable by almost anyone that sees a merge request, but only certain people can merge, and those are the people that this would have the biggest impact, that see all of these different options and that see the button. So I scored this with a 6 because I think it's still a large percentage of users who use merge requests. And then the impact, as I mentioned, the confidence, and I thought in terms of effort that it would take, in terms of months, that it would take, rough guess would be 1 milestone of one person dedicated to working on this. So all of this together, this formula gave me a score of 12. And then comparing to other things that I thought were less important was, for example, the UI polish, so more visual design, the style of headings, text, and links of all merge request widgets, and trying to have them more consistent. It would have a very big impact. So it would impact the vast majority of all the users of merge requests because everyone would see the links, the headings, and the text. It's not something that they can opt into and use the buttons and use the options. It's something that everyone sees when they use a merge request. But in terms of impact, I thought it was medium. That's how I saw it, because it wouldn't dramatically change how people use merge requests in a positive way. It would be just more of a quality of life improvement. And in terms of confidence, I wasn't very confident about it. So when we're talking about a confidence, we're talking not only about the problem, but also the solution and implementation details that it's written here. And I had a low confidence because me and Jeremy and others, we were having a lot of discussions about the visual design aspects and the iconography and the links and the colors and all of that. And I didn't feel like we were in a good place yet. So we would need to do more work to understand the solution. So that's why I gave it a low confidence. And in terms of effort, I would also think that all of this would probably take a month to work on, maybe less, I don't know. But in the end, this formula gave me a score of 5. So these are 2 examples. And in the end, I focused on just the top ones that scored the highest, restructured the merge request widget, the merge request merge widget with 12, and then the UI text improvements as 12, because changing text is very easy. We had high confidence that the current text that we have is just not consistent and not easy to read, and actually leads to people filing bugs and issues because they don't understand what they need to do or what the current situation is that is blocking the merge. So that's why it's scored very high. And yeah, this is just the experiment that I made with breaking this down, this bigger design using the rice score method. Yeah, I'm open to your thoughts and feedback. Let me know what you think. And I hope this helps you, or at least inspires you to think in similar ways of how we can break things down in a more objective way, trying to separate our own biases, because we're deep in Figma, we're deep in the design discussions, and sometimes we think, oh, this is very important or this is not so important. But when we look through these lenses of reach, impact, confidence, and effort, things really change, or at least they validate some of our assumptions or invalidate some of our assumptions. Yeah, so thank you, and I hope you have a great day.